Welcome to the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode... What episode is this? 325 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. So good to have you here. We're going to be hacking on some Firefox-related things today. I hope you're interested in that. Oh, should have done some vocal warm-ups. I hope you're interested in that. Welcome to the stream. Let me start by sharing my screen. We can take a look at the agenda. This is the agenda. It's May 17th, 2023, episode 325. I'll start with the preamble I always start with. No plan survives breakfast. I don't know what's going to happen today. I've got a couple of things that we can work on, things that we can do. But, might get blocked. Might hit some Docker issues or Kubernetes. I don't know. Who knows what could go wrong? And that's okay. None of this, it's not like a slideshow where I've got a presentation prepared. You're just going to ride along with me while I hack on some bugs, and who knows what'll happen. We might get stuck, we might get sidelined, or we might get some work done. So, hoping for the latter. That's the first thing. Second thing, the agenda that we're looking at is something that you have access to. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the video description down below. Same with diode.zone. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, check out the details section over there for a link. And if you're watching this on Twitch, down below in the channel details, there should be a link to today's agenda. And as I update it, you'll see this little thing spin. It'll do a synchronization, and the agenda will update. Let's go right into some work, because I've got a yearning to get some stuff done. I've got a couple of simple things kind of queued up for us. If you recall, last week I talked a little bit about what was I working on? What did we do last week? I'm reading through some of the stuff. Did we work on the Sumo thing at all? I think we did. I talked a little bit about the podcast I was on, and we were talking about, on Sumo, the sort of switching devices wizard that we're building out that is going to be available to help users sign into their Firefox account, synchronize, and so that they know, this is probably the simplest and most secure way of transferring your data from one computer to another is through Firefox accounts and sync. And we're trying to build out a Sumo page that kind of lays that all out, and I've got the development environment set up, and we've got this wizard. We don't have the copy set up just yet, and there's still some styling stuff that's required, but we're getting closer. We're closer than we were last week. That's for sure. And so we're what do I want to do here? I want to start by looking at the bug that I identified, which was the what is this first one? 1303. 1303 is a simple one. I think we can knock this out of the park. The hardest part will probably be writing tests, actually, and that's fine. So in the wizard here, we're actually in step 2 because we've already got an account. The wizard knows that we're signed in to my test.com account on my local FXA server. And you can actually be in a state where you're signed into your account in the browser, but you're not syncing. You may or may not know that, but if you go to settings, sync, you can actually turn syncing off. You can disconnect it. Even though you're signed into the account, syncing can be turned off. And that is wired up here so that the page knows, hey, syncing is off, and that's good. And it can tell you, hey, here's where you need to go to turn syncing back on. So you can click on that and turn syncing back on. Now syncing's on. But we only want the user to be able to proceed to the final step once we know that they've been syncing. Because that way they know, hey, your data has actually been synced up to the network, and it's ready for you on your new device whenever you install Firefox on the new device. So what we want to do, the TLDR here, is we actually want to disable this button, this next button, in the event that syncing is off. And that's pretty straightforward. I think the majority of the work, like I said, is writing a test for that, because we don't actually have any tests for the UI part of this. We have tests for the underlying glue, the sort of state management system, but we don't have any tests for the UI components, and so we're going to be adding one. Let us get started. So the first thing I need to do is get a terminal in front of me. Where am I going to do this work? I had like one for Kitsune. Here, we'll do our work in here. And let me pump up the font a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Ah, that happens every time. And we're gonna check out main, and going to create a new branch. I'm not super used to Git. I've definitely used Git before, but if you've ever watched the stream, you'll know that I predominantly use Mercurial to do Firefoxy things. So I'm having to kind of like relearn my Git muscles, like rebuild my Git muscles. So I'm going to create a new branch for this work. Disable the next button. Disable next button is what I'll call the branch. So we're now on that branch, and that's where we're going to do our work. And if we then pull up the source code, where we want to do this is actually in Device Migration Wizard, where we've defined these individual steps. And we're going to go to the configure step, and we're going to disable the next button. If sync is enabled, we're gonna basically do next button. We gotta get the next button. Let next button equal this dot shadow root get element by ID next, and we're gonna say next button dot disabled equals this dot state sync enabled, and we're gonna flip that bit. So now if we reload this page, syncing is off. We should see that so notice that the styling went away, and that's because I changed branches, but notice the next button is disabled. That's good. Turning on sync works, and then if I turn on syncing, go back here, the next button is enabled, and that will take us to the last page. That's great. That's what we wanted. So that's easy. Now what we want to do is actually write a test for this. And what I'm thinking of doing, actually, to make this easier to test, what in the world? I think there's just like an empty string in here. I'm going to get rid of that. But I'm going to extract this out into a different step. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, like, I'm going to take this part here. I'm going to create a new module and drop it into it so that we don't have to bring in the rest of the stuff to test it. So the way we're going to do that is all of our JS has been going in here. And switching devices, Wizard Manager, Device Migration Wizard. I'm going to put it in see, there's already like a Form Wizard sign-in step, Form Wizard configuration step. So I think I'm going to use the same convention and call it Form Wizard configuration step. So under JS here, I'm going to create a new file. We're going to pull this stuff out. And we're going to bring that in. And we're going to call it Form Wizard configuration step.js. We're going to git add, well, Let's see if we can get the path here. Add that. Add it to tracking. And then we need to import it from here. Import maybe we actually do want to pull this out and have it be here. So import configure step from sumo.js form wizard configuration step. And that should still kind of work. So let's reload this page. So it doesn't like it. It's freaking out because base form step is not defined. Right. So we're gonna pull that into here. I wonder if this path is correct. Probably not, but let's find out. Argument 2 is not an object in Device Migration Wizard 1.16, which is, come on, configure step. Oh, I need to export it. Yeah, there we go. And reload. And then we also need this other thing, which is the info image URL and the configuration step styles URL. Right, that's used in here. Configuration step styles URL, and then there was another one, I think it's the syncing image. Yeah, we're gonna need this too. Put that there. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, this network error is expected because of local cores. That's fine. But yeah, our configuration step part is working, so that's good. And then I want to write a test for this. So we're going to add a new test file here. We're going to call it Form Wizard Configuration Step Tests. And we're using like Mocha, I think. Chai? I don't know. Some kind of stuff. I'm going to just copy this sort of like form here, format, but I'm going to like just pull in the configure step. Oh, this is called configure step, not configuration step. I'm going to rename that to configuration step. That is annoying, that inconsistency there. Configure step. Maybe we just need to rename the CSS. Configure step. And then I'm going to rename this. Git move. CSS form wizard configuration step. We're going to remove it to configure step. Okay. And then configure step. And then here Good. So this should still load now. Nope. Form unable to find module. Assume.js form wizard configure step, because this needs to be renamed. Git move kitsune sumo static sumo js form wizard configuration step. We're going to rename it to configure step. For consistency, some flavor of coffee. Some flavor of coffee. Mocha, chai. Yeah, exactly. I know what you're talking about. Sorry, I was a little behind. Cannot find module form wizard configure step styles.scss. Form wizard configure. Where is it? Form wizard configure step styles. Stayed configure step. Do I have to? Oh, I need to, not CSS, SCSS. All right. Good. Okay, so that's all working. And now we should be able to, now I need to rename or remove this test file. I don't even know if I staged it. No, we're just gonna rename it. Sumo, all right, I can do this in Sublime. Configure step. So we're gonna pull in configure step. Form wizard configure step, and we're also going to do this bootstrap thing where we like define it. Well, actually, I don't even know if we need to do that. We can just construct it dynamically with the new each time. So we don't need that. Describe, configure step, custom element, and then body empty HTML. We're just using a little jQuery there. I'm going to say like let step. I'm going to have that be the global step. We're going to say step equals configure step. And then body empty. And then what's the right way to append? Append to the DOM. Append. And then we don't need the wizard. We don't need slot. We just append it. So let's get rid of some of these, and we're just gonna run, should render a configure step custom element. Step, expect it to exist, and expect it to be an instance of configure step. It's basic stuff. So let's run Webpack test. That's how you run the tests apparently. See what it says. Okay. Constructor's not part of the custom element registry, so I actually have to, I do have to register it, which is fine. Describe before. Okay. Good. Okay, so that works. And now we're going to test some of its behaviors. So we're gonna render it into a couple of different states that we know that it can go into. So this render, it's like basically sync enabled or sync not enabled. And we also want to test these events. So here's what we're gonna do. We'll start with it should oh, we also need to like supply the forgot password link. That's separate. But so what do we have here? We've got the sync enabled or sync disabled state. And based on that, we're going to say whether or not syncing is on or off. Sync status, well, we're going to look at the attribute as opposed to the strings. And then we're going to look at whether or not the buttons attribute is correctly set, and then we'll see about the next button being enabled or disabled. So should properly render the not syncing state. So you can do that with step.set state, and then we're gonna pass in just the sync enabled state is all we want. Sync enabled false. Expect step shadow root. Let shadow equals step.shadow root. Expect shadow query selector. Sync status. Get attribute. Sync enabled to be false. Does that work? I think that works. Doesn't like it. Expected null to be false. Shadow query selector sync status. Get attribute. Null. So this is like null. Really? Query selector, sync status. Yeah, that's fine. So what is the value? Like, did it find the node? Yeah, we found it. So the attribute hasn't been set yet. So calling set state, is there something I have to wait for? Let's see here. Form wizard. I say set state, then we call render. Render previous state. If it's not equal to previous state sync enabled. Console log previous state. Just some good old printf debugging. State. And it's like, nope, I don't know how to parse that. Right. What am I doing with those colons? Previous state. State. So sync enabled is false. Sync enabled. So console.log. Hello? Previous state. Sync enable is false. So... Oh, it's toggle attribute. So it's not that we expect it... Okay, we expect it to actually not be there. We expect it to be null. So that was my bad. So expect it has attribute sync enabled to be false. That is what we expect. We can get rid of our logging here. All right, so far so good. And then we definitely expect the next button to be disabled to be true. Shadow query selector. Button's ID is next. Oh, disabled. Expandos. Okay, that's good. What was the other thing I wanted to test? So it should be disabled. The buttons should also be without that attribute. Buttons. Now, can I use... Will it let me do this? I don't know if it'll let me do this, but... Because it's a JS DOM environment. JS DOM client rect. Doesn't do any rendering. It always will return 0, right? So... Yeah, doesn't expect it to. And then this person's like, hey. All right, well, let's see whether or not it would work. Console.log shadow or next rect. Bounding client rect. See what it says. I'm new to a lot of these tools, so you know, if you're watching this and you're like, oh, what a moron. It's because I'm new to this. I'm not used to doing modern web development. Which is weird for someone who works on a web browser. But I work on the browser, I don't normally build websites anymore. Okay, so yeah, it's JS, that makes sense. Like, it's not actually, JS DOM doesn't do layout. Is this modern web development? I guess. I have no idea. It's using Node stuff in Webpack. That to me is like all the smells of modern. So I can't actually check the layout to determine whether or not these things are enabled or disabled. And presumably I can't use get computed style, right? Window get computed style. I presume that's going to just return some kind of like default. Like, I don't expect them to have implemented a style engine. Yeah. Values, display, inline block. Right. Okay, so we can't actually check to see whether or not the buttons are visible. We can just check their attributes. That's fine. So now we're going to do the opposite case. Should probably render the syncing state to be true, to be false. Good, and then it should fire events. Should properly fire events. Should send the expected events when buttons are clicked. So let's start with sync enabled is false. Is there some kind of wait for event? Expect chai goodness. Oh boy. Cool. I thought there'd be a helper. Mocha. Wait for event. The simple, fun testing framework. I think I'm just gonna like use an await, I guess. I'll make like a helper function. Event. Target. Event name. Return new promise, resolve. Target, add event listener, event name, resolve once true. Okay. So let clicked. What are the different events? Turning on sync. So we expect this event to fire. I clicked equals step turn on sync equal or saw turn on sync event. Just wait for event step that. And then we're going to click on it. Shadow query selector turn on sync click await saw turn on sync event. Expect. How do we want to like expect true to be true? What do they do? Maybe expect to not be null. Is that mocha not be null? To not equal null. To not be null. To not be null. Okay. So we'll have this thing like resolve with. Resolves. Does it resolve with the event? Yes, it will. That's the callback. So. that should work. Let's just run that one and see what happens. Yeah, really a built-in test runner. Yeah, I agree. Into JS, I agree. Turn on sync, configure sync event. Configure step. What was the next one called? Change sync prefs. And what was the... change sync prefs event. And then the last one is next. Now that one shouldn't click. We expect that one actually to not fire whenever it's disabled. So how do we do that? Let listener equals event expect false to be. How do you say Mocha? Expect not to hit. Expect test for expected failure. It's like test should fail. Should fail. Oh, that's should. Throw a new error. Expect to throw. Chai now has should fail. I wrote expect fail. Expect fail. Expect fail. Message. Did not expect next button to fire event. Okay. Array selector next, click. Let next button equals shadow query selector next button add event listener click listener once then next button click then we're going to remove the event listener. This is a case where we don't expect the event to fire, so it's like, once is not defined. Once. Once, true, of course. Actually, we can just remove that altogether. And we would expect that to fail in the event that we didn't do what we just fixed, which was to disable the button. So if I were to like remove that, I would expect that test to fail. Do not expect next button to fire event. Good. Okay. Good. That's what we wanted. All right. So I think we're in good shape here. Now, was there anything else I wanted to test about the configure step? It's pretty self-contained. These events, that state, that's all kind of taken care of. I do eventually, I realize that we need to populate the forgot password link. So what I'm going to do is actually fix that in here as well, but in a separate commit. So let's commit what we've got right now. Git add that, git add that. We're staging. Git add this. Git status. I don't want to commit that. Git commit. And then the sumo ticket is 1303. Disable next button if syncing is not enabled, 1303. And then, hang on. This also factors out the configuration, the configure step. This also makes us consistent by referring to the step as configure step rather than a mix of configure step and configuration step in various parts of the code. Factors out the configure step. I'm going to put those dashes back, actually. Factors out the configure step into its own module that can be tested separately and adds some tests. Okay, that's good. Next, I want to fix the forgot password link not working. Like right now, it's just like an empty link, and what we need is to remember, like, what is the localhost 3030 forgot password. So it'll be like /reset_password from the FXA root. Okay. And what things do we pass to the configure step? Sync enabled. Okay, so I need to also pass in the FXA root. State FXA root. Or maybe I'll say forgot password link ref equals slash reset password. What we might actually want to do, we have to kind of like supply all these parameters. Enter Unimedium. What does reset password take on the FXA side of things? Parameters. That's the UI. Reset password goes to reset password view. Where is that? Oh, that is UI. Where is the thing that processes it, though? um... Reset password. Oh, recovery tokens. Okay, well, in that case, I'm just going to keep things simple, actually. We're just going to return that. And if we need to cobble some more stuff onto the end of it, that's fine. But for now, this is probably fine. And so forgot password link ref is going to go to here, and we're going to say if this dot state dot forgot password link ref is not equal, if it hasn't been updated for some reason, then let link equal ID equal forgot password. Link L equals this dot shadow root query selector forgot password link L dot ref equals this dot state password link ref. Okay, so now if we re-render this, reset password. Yeah, that's right. That's what we want. Okay. Now let us write a test. Should populate, should set the reset password link with a ref attribute. Sync enabled false, and then what was it? Forgot password link ref. We're gonna say like example reset password URL, and we're gonna set that example.com reset password, and we're gonna expect reset password for forgot password link. It's called forgot password, of course. Forgot password link. Expect ref to be equal to, or just to equal reset password URL. All right, let's see. Yes, it worked. I just need to update a different test to include the changes to the state. With a qualified UA. should send the user to the configure step. Struct to be equal to, and then forgot password link ref should be equal to fake FXA root reset password. Is that and the same one? Should have the configuration. I meant the right payload if entering. All right, let's see if it likes that. Like I said, it's mostly tests that we'd be working on today, and that's good. So we're gonna now commit that. What I'm gonna do actually, yeah, I'm just gonna. Can I do like git commit a exclude, like git commit help exclude? No, it's like I want to commit everything except. All right. Well, let's do it this way. I'm gonna just check out that so it's undone because I don't need that, and then we're gonna go commit git commit am populate the forgot password link with a ref attribute in the configure step. And I'm actually going to rename this branch to configure step improvements. All right. Check out main, git pull origin main. Do we have anything else? Yeah, we got some stuff to pull in. All right, git check out configure step improvements. We might actually have to do some rebasing here. Git rebase main. Yeah, conflicts. Some changes happened. Auto merging conflict in device migration. So basically, I'm pretty sure what happened was some of the stuff in here changed. So we want to basically copy this over. To configure step. We want to export the class again, but we also want to get our fix in here. And then we can get rid of this. I think that'll do it. Git add this rebase continue. All right. Let's see if that still looks good. Okay. No, it does not. Configuration step styles URL. It's not defined. Form wizard configure step. 39. Did something change? Figure step. So configure step. I wonder if like the Webpack stuff is still building. No. Okay. Configure step. 39. Oh, here. Oh, configure. That's what it is. We want to log. I'm gonna check out this first. I need to git check out. There's probably a better way of doing this, but I need to like change this. Oh, here's a way of doing this. That there's probably a better way of doing this, but what I think I want to do is this. First of all, does this work? Yes, it does. The buttons are a little better styled now. If I disable syncing, this button is disabled. Turn on syncing. It's re-enabled. Happy, happy, happy. Reset. Why isn't this populating now? Switching devices. Oh, shoot. I'm on the wrong one. Git ref log. Oh. What is the name? Configure step improvements. That's where I want to be. Git checkout. Git if. Git stash. Git checkout that. Okay. Git stash pop. Okay, and that gets our reset password link. Okay, so we're in better shape now. And then what I want to do is, I much prefer Mercurial for this kind of mutation stuff, but I'm going to go git and such git commit fix variable reference git rebase main interactive, and we're going to take that and we're going to squash that into the above. Right. We're going to now run our tests. Up. There we go. I could have just typed that a bit. I could have typed that faster instead of just going up, but classic me. Okay, that's looking good. And then finally, one last manual test. Good. Happy. All right, let's push this up for review. Push me, configure step improvements. And we are going to create a new pull request. Hannah. This pull request fixes Mozilla sumo such and such 1303, and also fixes an issue where the forgot password link wasn't, fixes the issue where the forgot password wasn't having its ref attribute set. This also splits out the configure step so that it has its own test module, test file to its own module to make it easier to test in isolation. Create pull request. Okay, feeling pretty good about that. Feeling donk. Feeling donk. Anyone speaks German? Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Vielen Dank. I'm feeling quite donk about this. All right, what's the next thing I want to work on while I wait for review there? I kind of did this already. Let's do a Firefox thing before, instead of this. Let's do a Firefox thing. So let's pull the latest stuff down from Firefox. This is also related to migration, but it's about migrating from other browsers. Good old Mercurial, back with Mercurial. And let me pump up the font again. Pump it up, pump the jam, pump it up. And then I'm going to pull from Central. I got a nice challenge from like 1 month stuck with only Git Cinnabar. Heck no. Mercurial or bust. I mean, it's a tool. I'd get used to Git. It's not my favorite, but I'll get used to it. Any projects that use Git, I'll figure it out. There are probably ways of doing what I want to do with like mutation, like the evolving stuff that I like from Mercurial that I kind of take for granted. I'm sure there are ways of doing that with Git. It's just I might need to learn some new Git foo. Oh, someone put in someone put in some a helpful snippet on how to avoid adding stuff, how to avoid staging stuff. Let's put that in here from Danny Colin. How to stage all except a particular file with Git. Very interesting. Okay. What I want to do is rebase an old patch for adding the UI for importing payment methods. So we've just recently, just yesterday, added UI, added the infrastructure for importing payment methods from Chrome-based browsers. And I want to add the UI to the new migration wizard. So let's do that. Now it's a bit annoying to test because the way that we currently do storage of credit card information on Mac OS, We have to like re-request the decryption keys for like every field, which is so annoying. And but that's not the case for an actual release build, but for nightly builds, it's such a pain in the butt. And maybe there's a way of avoiding that, but I don't know what it is. So you're gonna see a lot of permission requests. So let's build this. Build with artifact. Build. Meanwhile, how's my pull request doing? Linting passed. I just need to... It's running all the tests now. Masterways asks, is it bad that I'm on vacation in Orlando, but I'm still watching Mike work, knowing I don't have any RelOps headaches to deal with for the time being? Yeah, Masterways. I mean, like, if this is what you want to do in your holiday, who am I to say don't do it? But if you're in Orlando, it might be quite nice in Orlando, or it might be quite warm. I would recommend, if you're going to watch me, do it outside. Maybe go to the... I don't know if you're a beach person. I don't know if you get burned easily, but maybe you can position yourself under an umbrella. I presume if you went to Orlando in May, chances are you like, being at the beach, I guess. I don't know anything about Orlando. But I will happily entertain you while you're on your vacation. But you don't have to watch. You can always watch the recording. And if you're going to do it, I recommend doing it outside. Maybe, finding a nice shady area, hearing the waves roll in, and listening to me ramble about how every time I use Webpack, part of me wants to die. Yeah. But enjoy your time off, certainly. From the Netherlands, you get burned very easily? Yeah, I hear that. Oh, you're sitting on your balcony. Well, that's good. I'm just glad you're relaxing. I hope you're relaxing. I hope, this is a message for everybody. If you're watching this, you might be in the tech industry. I think, but this goes for any job. But, do take your time off. Get some time off. Go enjoy your life. There's more to life than work. If you have the means to take a few days off, you've got the opportunity. Because, you'll come back more refreshed. You'll come back with maybe different ideas. But also, it gives you the opportunity to enjoy your life a bit. Instead of, spending the majority of your days doing some job to make some coin. Go do something you love. Now, maybe this is something... Maybe writing software is something you truly love to do. I wonder how often someone who's a professional cabinet maker and who gets paid to do it on their day off, if they're like, now finally I get to make a cabinet. Maybe that's the case for you. But if you have the opportunity to do something else for a little while, just to sort of take a break, get your head out of the machine and enjoy your life, I say you do it. Masterways writes, watching Mike is the only somewhat work-related thing I'm accepting on my 3-week PTO. What an honor. Thank you, Masterways, for the distinct honor. Okay, so what do I want to look at here? I want to show how we can import credit card information now from other browsers. Payment methods. Because we now have support for that, and I want to land the UI for it. So for Chrome, now we have payment methods that we'll be able to bring in. And I'm pretty sure my testing Chrome profile, do they both have payment methods? Looks like it. Chrome Canary does not. Vivaldi does not. Edge doesn't. Opera doesn't. And Opera GX doesn't. But Chrome Person 1 and Chrome Awesome Other User does. Now, when I'm going to do this, it's going to ask me for my password, for my system password, I think, because of encryption. First of all, let's take a look at what's in my database right now for saved credit cards. Nothing. It's all empty. And this is obviously a testing profile, so you're not going to see my for real credit card number. But here we go. Let's import a payment method from Person 1. Now it's going to ask me for my credentials, for my system credentials. And now it wants them again. Now normally it would only ask for this, I think, once. But because this is nightly and not... and for each field it wants it. One payment method. Because it's nightly... it doesn't persist, I think, the permission request, and it asks every time. That's like a Mac OS thing. But now, if I go into credit card information, I should have, I've got my credit card imported, which is great. So now, I want to run the local tests. We'll just run all the Moki tests for now. See what it thinks. Masterways writes, "Trust me, I'm just here because I enjoy seeing it." Well, I'm enjoying having you here, Masterways. And they write, "Usually while I'm working, I will have a Joy of Coding recording running in the background." Oh, again, what an honor. What an honor. Thank you. I'm happy to be a part of your workday, even if it's just me in the background nattering on and on and on and on. I don't know if those tests pass. We'll see. So a test failed, and it was browser do migration failed. Okay. So we need to fix this up. Should be showing the completed state. And browser do migration. Test successful migration, 244. Whoop. Should be showing completed state. All resource types. Oh, so now it's choosing to import all of them. Okay. I think I need to include the credit card one in here. Payment methods. Usually, would be nice to do a live as an IRL episode. I'm not sure what that means. I am IRL right now, Danny Colon, but I'm curious to know what you mean by that. So that still failed. She found the expected data string, form history. Should be showing completed state. False equals true. Browser do migration. Should be showing completed state. Which test? Test start, do migration, entering test successful migrations. Should be hidden. Expected state, got the expected profile object. Assert quantities shown. And that's from, what's the stack? 245. Select all resource types. All are checked. Displayed resource types. We're going to check them all. We're going to wait for a test migration. Why wouldn't they be done yet? Wait. So migration was done. So then why wouldn't it be in the completed state? Migration wizard parent. Update progress. I'm just gonna dump some stuff. Update progress. JSON stringify progress. No. Is it because of an import error for payment methods? Yeah, probably. Like that's almost certainly involved here because that's what I've added. So, but I'm not actually like using a real migrator from a real browser. I'm using like this test migrator that doesn't actually access anything on the disk. Update progress. In progress false. Okay. That's fine. Fail, fail. Okay, here we go. Update progress. Payment methods. So in progress, it never... Oh, it's related to this exception. I note import data type cards passed to get imported count. Migration utils. Cards. Import quantities has own property type. Except cards does exist. What in the world? See what's going on here with the debugger. Anyone here speak German and get my joke? It's like a pun. I said, oh, I am vielen Dank. I think that's a pun. I don't speak German, but I know enough about my time in Germany that I know that is like a phrase. Type cards. This import quantities. So, oh, right. I know why. Because the fake one that we write in here, because of silly reasons, doesn't have cards. Import quantities, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Cards. Expected quantity. There we go. Let's try that now. Dunk, I believe, is thanks. Yeah, what does vielen Dank mean? Vielen Dank. Thanks very much. Yeah. I think it's because I was saying thank you while I was in Berlin, and someone was like, vielen Dank, vielen Dank. I'm like, yeah, I am vielen Dank. I'm feeling very donk. I think that's a funny joke. I don't know. If you speak German and you're laughing, I crushed it. If you speak German and you're rolling your eyes or groaning, or like you exhaled through your nose, I still count that as a win. Okay. Looking good. So we're gonna revert that change. We figured out what was wrong there. And let's run Storybook. Mock Storybook, so we can take a look at the UI. Masterways smirked. Danny Colin gave me the capital XD face. I think these are good. These are good signs. I might take that joke on the road. I'm just going to go up in front of a crowd and be like, hey, everyone, how's everyone feeling? And then they're going to go like, oh, pretty good. I'll go, I am vielen Dank. And then I'm just going to walk off stage. Oh, is Storybook already running somehow? 5703. I've got so many terminals open, Storybook is probably running. I'm running like the entire, I'm running the entire like FXA ecosystem in Docker in the background and Sumo. So I've got all my ports are getting eaten up. Payment methods, that looks right. Success, payment methods. Yep. All right. Let's get this up for review. Credit card. Bug such and such. Credit card, add, payment method, migration experience. We'll ask Catherine for review. Actually, I haven't asked Nicholas for review in a while. Let's ask Nicholas for review. All right, let's get this up for review and see what happens. And I think I'm going to call the stream there. Hey, thank you so much for watching episode 325 of The Joy of Coding. I hope that was interesting. If you're on vacation, thanks for watching. What should I do for episode 350? That's coming up in 25 episodes. Someone was like, do an IRL episode. I don't know what that means. In person. Do it in person. I mean, I am in person, but do you mean like do it at an all hands with a bunch of people around? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. It's worth thinking about. Yeah, let me know what you thought. There's a link to rate this episode in the agenda. Send in your, any correct, I don't know what you might want to send in. Let me know what you thought. There's like a form you can fill out and say like, no, I thought this episode was fine, middle of the road, or I thought it was great, or I thought it was not good at all, and here's what I want you to do instead, and here are some questions. If you have questions, you can send them in using this form, and I'll do my best to try and answer them on stream. So go ahead and send those in. And with that, I'm going to call it here. Thank you so much, again, for watching episode 325 of The Joy of Coding. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.